Industrialized invasion of Britain, ladies and gentlemen. We are facing nothing less than that right now. Look, guys, I'm going to share with you guys a video, and I shared this earlier on in the live stream, but I just wanted to get this out, and I want people to understand the depths and the mass industrialization of what is happening in the United Kingdom. And before we get on, I'm going to give you this, guys, because I give it all the time. The only way out of this problem is we need a legal framework to protect ourselves from a tyrannical government. Everything else is condiments, guys. Nothing else makes sense. Nothing else matters. Passing this law, this legislation, we're going to take these to court for that. We're going to close this hotel. None of it matters. This is a problem now, and it's here. Clearly, the government are not helping. We've seen this because of what's happened in Epping via the Bell Hotel. That instance, we've seen the local people come together and peacefully protest. Look, guys, and it doesn't matter what this is about. This just highlights how we have no legal framework to protect ourselves from a tyrannical government. And if there is, put it in the chat. So we've had this scenario now, and share this with your friends and family. Share this as a conversation, as a talking point. We have had the situation now, the Bell Hotel in Epping, where people have protested peacefully outside that hotel, and that's had an effect. The local council in Epping have said, yeah, okay, we need to close that hotel down. The local member of parliament, the local MP for that constituency, everybody's been unanimous saying, yeah, we need to close this hotel down. Again, I don't think this is the right way forwards. The real way forwards is to give ourselves the legal protection to protect ourselves from a tyrannical government. If we do that, everything sorts itself out. However, the government have basically said, no, that hotel is staying open now. And what? And what now? Where is democracy? Where is the will of the people? It's quite clear that the will of the people is that hotel gets closed. That's the will of the people, guys. That is the democratic way. However, the government are saying no. So how do we oppose that? People could argue that is a tyrannical system. I would not. I would just speculate, and I'm not saying anything because I don't want to get Lucy Conley. Right. Look, guys, I'm going to share with you guys a video, and I shared this on the live stream earlier, but I'm going to try and let this video play as fluently as I can. But what I want people to focus on is the industrialization. And I will stop this at various parts, actually. So what I want people to just consider is the industrialization of this and the way that this is, the sheer scope of this.
Evidence yet of the way in which these migrants are just wandering about unchallenged by the French police. Let's show you our first sequence of videos. Now you can see that these videos were taken in various locations in Gravelines, which is near one of the main buses, beach stops where the boats launch from, also in Grand Fort Philippe and down in Calais as well. You can see this is broad daylight as these migrants, some
just look at these images, guys, okay? This is an industrialized project. This is an industrialized invasion now of the United Kingdom. I don't know what other words to use. I really don't know what other words to use. A few of the things I've said previously on other live streams, on other platforms, kit and equipment, all right? As somebody who's ex-military, I know how difficult it is to buy kit and equipment at scale. So when we're talking about thousands, it's very difficult. Now, look at all these life jackets. Look at all the boats. We've all, and I did this months ago, maybe even I think it was last year. One of the things I said is, right, okay, where are these life jackets coming from? Who can produce them at that scale? So now you've got, and we've all seen the videos, I think Chris Philp, I think it was Chris Philp. It may not be. The British MP, I think it was Chris Philp. He's out with he's not out with the Border Patrol. He's out on an independent vessel, and they're monitoring the chat between I think it's the RNLI and the French Navy. Basically the taxi services. And what they do is they say, right, okay, can you send me, I think it's like 57 life jackets back or whatever. And he's like, yep, I'll send you 57 life jackets back. So the Brits go out and they send them the life jackets. Now, put it in the chat if you think I'm wrong, but is that not the government complicit? Is that not the government enabling those people? Is that not the government helping the criminal gangs? I would say it is. I don't see any way how you can say that giving life jackets back to those criminal gangs, because obviously that's, I mean, where else are they going? Where else are those life jackets going if they're not, you know, somebody explain it to me. Somebody make it make sense. So I would say that the government, by the RNLI, giving those life jackets, oh, Sean, the RNLI is an NGO, they're independent. All right, okay, whatever. At government level, if they're told to bring those life jackets back, they will bring those life jackets back. So at that level, you've got to agree that the government are involved in providing life jackets to the migrants in Calais. And I'll come on to something else in a minute.
Wearing the life jackets, others clearly openly carrying them, are just wandering about, completely unchallenged. One senior maritime source that we spoke to said the very least the police should be doing is stopping them and confiscating these life jackets, because effectively these life jackets are enabling the illegal migration across the English Channel. Look.
So you hear what he said there, you know, at least they should be confiscating the life jackets because the life jackets are enabling them. Okay, so who's enabling them? Well, put it together, guys. I'm not making this stuff up myself. I'm only repeating what other other open source media reports. So if you go back to the Chris, I've not got it up. I'll probably do another video when it's up. If you go back now to the Chris Philp when he's out on the channel, and the migrants are coming over, and the British and the French authorities say, "Oh yes, send the life jackets over." Is that not enabling them, like he just said, like the naval expert said?
Look at this, just wandering large groups of them.
Guys, look at these images. Tell me that this is not an industrialized project.
Down the streets, completely unchallenged. And it's not just the fact that police are not intervening to confiscate these, to detain them, find out what their immigration status is. It's also about the increasing levels of criminality and disorder in town centres. Let's show you this next piece of video that shows just what local residents are having to put up with.
Just imagine you live here, guys, okay? Imagine you lived in this town and you wanted to get out. First of all, like financially, what do you think has happened to the house prices? Like, who's going to want to live there? What do you think it's like living day to day for these French people?
It's like a football crowd.
Yeah, no, it is, absolutely. This is the early hours of the morning in the town of Gravelines, just a mile or so from the beach. This is a group of migrants who had been unable to launch their boat across to the UK. They're then chanting Allahu Akbar and clashing with the police here in...
Just imagine you've got kids, little kids who are waking up in the middle of the night, mummy, or whatever, however you say that in French, mama, papa, and you've got these hordes, I don't know whether the word to explain it, hordes of men, Middle Eastern men outside shouting Allahu Akbar. Can you imagine that? Can you imagine the fear and the terror?
Gravelines, and local residents are absolutely terrorised. They told us that they feel completely besieged by what is going on there almost nightly. The disorder that's taking place in towns like Gravelines with these large groups that are not just clashing with the police, but they are targeting local residents as well. They're smashing up cars, local beach huts, there's graffiti everywhere. Crime rates have soared.
So they sound like nice chaps, don't they? Smashing up cars, smashing up the town, smashing up beach huts, graffiti. Sound like just the type of person we want in the United Kingdom, right?
In the areas around Gravelines, Calais, Dunkirk.
So why aren't the French police clamping down on this, Mark? I mean, we've sent them how many millions of pounds? Hundreds of millions.
To some extent they are. I mean, you can see from the nighttime shots, they are challenging them in this disorder in the town centre. But then couple that with the fact that any other time, they're just allowed to wander free, unchallenged in any way by the local authorities.
So there you have it, guys. That was a video released by GB News today, like an hour ago or something. And I just want to do a standalone video on this and let people understand the industrialization of this problem. This is a lot bigger now. This is a lot bigger than people can imagine. I keep seeing these videos. Oh, we need to pass this law. We need to do this law. Guys, The time for passing anything on the micro is over. It's over. The sheer numbers now are unfathomable. The numbers are unbelievable. We're at breaking point. That's happened. We're at saturation point. I would say saturation point was a couple of years ago. Civil war is the only way out of this. I'm not advocating for civil war. I'm saying what's coming. I'm saying the inevitability is coming. And, you know, people talk about civil war all the time. A civil war would be, and yesterday I did a video and I said civil war is already upon us because we looked at the definition of civil war. And a civil war would be violent clashes between two organized groups. Well, I said, you know, I'm saying that's already here. We're already seeing violent clashes between two organized groups. However, what's coming to the United Kingdom, it's not going to be civil war where you've got two groups. It's going to be us versus them versus them. So you're going to have Somalians, Eritreans fighting each other. You're going to have Indians fighting with Pakistanis. You're going to have Pakistanis fighting with Afghanis. You're going to have the British civilian, you know, the normal population of Britain just, oh, make it stop. Vote for reform. Somebody help, please. Unfortunately, ladies and gentlemen, we're going to have to deal with this problem ourselves, or we are not, or we're going to become the red squirrel. It's totally up to you guys. The way to deal with this, guys, okay? If you follow to the end, guys, okay, the way to deal with this is we need to start that national conversation on how we protect ourselves from a tyrannical government. Everything else is salt and pepper. You know, it's mayonnaise and ketchup. It's literally condiments. Once we get that sorted, once we have a legal framework that we can protect ourselves, then we can deal with the problems ourselves. Until then, we are literally sitting ducks. We are literal sitting ducks. Take the Bell Hotel in Epping. The government have said, no, we're keeping that hotel open. Okay, if we had a legal framework to protect ourselves from a tyrannical government, the people of Epping could say, well, actually, we want it closed. We have the rights to protect ourselves from a government. You've been tyrannical. We're going to close this hotel down ourselves. That's what happens. That is literally what happens. You know, we don't have that. It's a brave new world, ladies and gentlemen. Be under no illusion how wild the times are that we are living in. Anyway, ladies and gentlemen, don't forget to like, comment, subscribe, share my stuff on your social platforms. That really helps. I'm going to Max to Grid. I'll get you guys another video later.